legends of the franchise are here, and we've seen all 30 of the cards have all of their attributes since the program just dropped. Let's go through all 30 of the cards and which ones in each pack that I think are the best. We got a lot to talk about here. Let's get right into it. First of all, I do want to mention before we go into the pack, they added the new collection award. It ended up being Jimmy Rollins. I was right in my first guess, and he looks nasty. If you're going for him, there should at least be a factor in the bosses that you pick. Like for me, I want J-Roll at short. So I'm not going to really pick many shortstop options in the program unless they seem really good. But forget that. We have a bunch of new cards in here as well. We have a new 99 Yelich for collecting tops now, which is really cool. Like that a ton. But other than that, let's go through the featured program and each of the cards in the program that I think are the best. We'll start off in the first pack that you get, the AL East. Brooks Robinson actually doesn't look bad. You'll see a theme in those secondaries. Everyone's going to basically be able to play second base. And Brooks Robinson getting some secondaries makes him a little bit more viable, but I don't think many people are going to use someone with his 191 power at third base. But could be a fun card for you O's fans. Cy Young is a very difficult pitcher to pitch with. You know, four-seam fastball is good. The slower 12-6, sweeping curve, and screwball, they're all basically the same speed. It's tough to pitch with, but if you're playing against dudes that just swing at everything outside of strike zone, this card could be a little bit of a problem. Jorge Posada, like I mentioned, I think is going to be the guy to pick. We talked about his attributes a bit already. The great contact and power versus both sides and gold defense. I am excited for this card. Wade Boggs actually looks really nice. They gave him some nice secondaries, and he's got 96, 93 power, so he'll have good defense in the outfield, great contact, and you could slide him wherever. So I think this will be a fun option if you really have not found a third baseman you like. You know, if you don't have George Brett, this will actually be pretty close to a George Brett Jr. at third base. And then Shawn Green, like we mentioned before, nasty bat versus righties. He's got first base as a secondary. And pretty good versus left in the 102 and 100, but I don't think people are going to sprint to the gate for a corner outfielder in this program. So I think if you're going to pick one, go Posada. Then after that point, probably decide between Wade Boggs or Shawn Green. I think Shawn Green could at least be a great bench bat, so I would lean towards him. In our AL Central, we got Cliff Lee, and we talked about him already. Sinker cutter. Great walks per nine means he's going to hit a lot of spots. I think he's going to be a very fun control pitcher if you enjoy that type of thing like I do. He might not be effective because he doesn't have much velocity, so he's not going to be an easy pitcher to just blow velocity past. So should be nice for the control if you're a creative pitcher who likes to tunnel and such, but might not be the pick for every single person. Ray Durham actually looks pretty nice. He can play center field, which I think is really nice. Good contact, solid power, and great speed. I think he's definitely going to be very viable at second base and center field if you happen to need those positions. There's a lot better, but if you need one, he's going to be a great solid pick. Alan Trammell actually looks really good. The contact is nice. 93 and 100 power is very respectable. Diamond fielding and 70 speed. Very nice, positionally versatile card. He's not going to be the top pick because it's Alan Trammell. Not everyone likes his swing, I feel. But this is the best one we've gotten, and he's very viable at each position he plays. Brett Saberhagen is definitely one that I don't really recommend. He's got 4 pitches. He's got control, which is neat, but he doesn't have enough pitches to really work with. So 1 fastball, 1 slider, and the last 2 breaking balls are the same speed. And only 106 hits per nine in that front. He seems like someone I would kind of recommend avoiding like Cy Young. And then Torrey Hunter could also be a nice center field option. Obviously going with a little bit more power in comparison to, say, Ray Durham and the better diamond fielding in center field. But Torrey Hunter could be a nice center field option if you have not found someone you like. I definitely plan on trying him. I think that if I were to pick one, it would be Cliff Lee. Then after that, I would say go Ray Durham or Torrey Hunter if you happen to need a second baseman or a center fielder. But Alan Trammell is great as well if you happen to need a shortstop. In the AL West, we got Roy Oswalt. 103 hits per nine is pretty good for a Roy Oswalt card. Good Ks per nine. He's got a nice 4-seam sinker. He's got the slow curveball as per usual. I think this should be a nice, well-rounded pitcher. I don't think he'll be one of the favorites in the program, but could be a nice one if you are just picking up the game later or looking for multiple starters. I think he could have a shot of being very solid, so I like this card a ton, actually. Jared Weaver, 104 hits per nine. Pretty solid on that front. People like this 94. If you like this 94, you should definitely try this one. Again, slow curveball. He's got the circle change in the mix. He's got the 4-seam in the sinker. So I think this card could be very fun. I do want to give him a go because I didn't give the 94 a go. So I think this could be another viable starter. Ricky Henderson, 119 and 92 versus right. That's good for a Ricky card. 111, 105 versus left is also respectable. More of a contact type outfielder. You're definitely getting Ricky Henderson for the speed. And I think at a certain parallel, he would maintain diamond fielding in a secondary. So having the diamond fielding in left or center with the 99 speed is going to mean this is going to be a great defender in the outfield. And having that contact means he's going to be a good bet. I think this will be an underrated outfield pick in the program. It's just that in the corner outfield, you normally want power, and 92, 105 isn't always going to bring that. Edgar, I think, is going to be one of the most valuable picks in the program. 125 contact, 106 and 114 power. This card is going to rake on all difficulties, and you can play him at first or third. So I think Edgar is a great pick if you happen to need one of those two positions. Definitely viable in both of them, and one of the best overall hitters in the game right now. And then Pudge. Pudge can play second base. That's neat. It's a lot like Posada, where he's got that extra versatility. Posada is definitely valuable for the power. You're sacrificing a little bit of contact, but you're getting switch hitting out of it. Pudge, you're getting a little bit more speed, you're getting stacked fielding, and you're getting maxed out contact. This card honestly is like a Roberto Clemente type hitter, and I thought Pudge was underrated last year. I think this Pudge could be very valuable in terms of a catcher option, especially if you want to have him as a bench catcher. He can play first and second as well if you like pinch running, so I like this card a ton. I think if I were to pick one player, I might actually lean Pudge or Edgar. Probably Edgar. It's just that first and third are stacked, but I would say pick him if you need a first baseman. Then I would go Pudge, Oswalt, or Weaver. This is definitely the most versatile pack, and I don't think there's one easy pick. NL East, we got Hank Aaron, and this actually looks really close to an endgame Hank. I don't think it is an endgame Hank, but it's close to it. Stacked versus lefties, great versus righties, even better versus righties, actually. Diamond fielding and can play anywhere. This seems like one of the must-pick cards in the program. Like, you have to try this card with that level of attributes. I plan on getting him in my lineup somehow because I love Hank Aaron cards. AJ Burnett actually exceeded my expectations. He doesn't have outlier, but it has a high velo fastball, nice sinker, probably has great break on the slider and knuckle curve. Yeah, this is looking pretty good here. This seems like one of the better starters, especially on the lower difficulties. If you want velocity, you'll induce more swings and misses with that high velo fastball. So I like this card a ton for a starter. Tom Glavine would be one I would pick as a starter because I love this lower overall one. He's got good walks prime with 99. He's going to hit a lot of spots. They talk about, pitch control and all that. I don't know what it does, but if it is a factor, at least he's maxed out on that. He's got great break. And I don't know, I just like Tom Glavine cards, so I do want to find a way to use this card in my rotation. But definitely more of a higher difficulty pitcher for sure. Mike Schmidt actually is nice with the secondaries that he brings and is pretty good versus left. It's just people don't like his swing animation, so I put him lower on the overall list because that's usually something that holds him back in comparison to the other players in the game. Almost like Mike Piazza. And then Andre Dawson, he is actually very well-rounded. Made him mash lefties. 103 and 100 versus right is great. And he's got the primary center field. This actually might be the best center field pick in the program. So I like this card a lot. In terms of this pack, I think Hank is the best overall pick. You could play him in center too, which is great. It'll be just as good as Dawson, basically defensively, bringing way better hitting. But if you don't like Hank and you don't like his swing, Andre Dawson's a great outfield option. If you're going to go for a pitcher, if you're on the lower difficulties, go Burnett. If you're on the higher difficulties, go Glavine. NL Central, we got Ryan Sandberg. He can play shortstop, which is nice. He makes him a very viable card. This card will be nice with high parallel once he gets above 100 power versus right. And Sandberg actually is a pretty fun bat. Some people just really like his card, so this is actually a very nice second base shortstop option especially. He's a lot like the Ron Santo type hitter, but he's actually bringing more contact than Santos. So basically a straight upgrade from something like that. Joe Morgan is always fun for the small strike zone, the high speed, and he's pretty good versus righties. 102 and 81 versus left feels a little weak though. The discipline and clutch feel a little boosted on this card, but a nice second baseman and also can play in the outfield if you want to find a way to get a Joe Morgan card in the lineup. I know some people just always like his cards. Prince Fielder, I personally think is the go-to first baseman pick in this program. You face more righties at this point in this game, so having 113, 125 versus right is stacked. A few parallels will get even better. And then 107, 119 versus left, if you're comparing other first base options, yes, Prince is a little worse versus righties than, say, Jim Thome, but is way better versus lefties with that 107 and 119 power. better than David Ortiz versus lefties as well, if I recall. And also brings silver fielding, which, you know, he's actually going to make some plays there. So I think Prince is going to be a top tier first baseman right now. He might be the first baseman pick in the program. Jason Bay actually seems really nice for a corner outfielder. 110 and 110 versus right is great. The 125 and 101 versus left is still very solid. Gold fielding in the outfield. He's definitely more of a corner outfielder with 62 speed though. I think this will be an underrated corner outfielder with some good hitting, so I'm excited for him. And then Ozzie Smith actually has 99 power versus left. I don't know how that happened. Is he still a great pick? Probably not, because only 104 and 100 on contact isn't going to really be that great at this point in the game, unless you're playing on like all-star difficulty or maybe Hall of Fame. But if you like Ozzie Smith cards, you like the defensive shortstops and great speed, and if you're someone who likes to bunt, well, I guess Ozzie Smith could be your pick. But I think Prince is the pick, with maybe Jason Bay or Ryan Sandberg as a close number 2 in this division. Then in the NL West, actually, we have 104 and 100 contact on the Steve Finley card, which is exciting. Steve Finley is always a card that plays seemingly above the attributes. If you need a center fielder, especially on like all-star or Hall of Fame difficulty, Steve Finley should be a really fun outfielder. And now that he has viable contact, he's going to hit some taters. Especially with that level of contact power, he's gonna get higher exit velos. He will be a very fun center field option, so I think he's a great pick in this division. Todd Helton's good. You know, 125, 112 versus right is very good. 109 and 92 versus left in terms of primary first baseman is a little weak. And the defense is nice, but not as necessary at first. Some people like Todd Helton cards, but I feel like they're a better first baseman, so I wouldn't be picking him. Don Sutton could actually be a pretty underrated pitcher, especially on the higher difficulties like Hall of Fame legend. He's got a sinker, he's got the nice screwball, and I liked his earlier overall game card that we had. It was like a 92 or something. Actually could be nice with the 117 hits per 9. So I like this as a starter option if you're looking for one to try. He would be one of my picks in this program. Tony Gwynn actually has 90 power versus right, which makes him the most viable he's ever been. And 70 power is enough where it's viable. Like, I've had plenty of players with 70 power mash the ball. But you're getting Tony Gwynn for the great defense, solid speed, and the maxed out contact. He's going to play like one of those slappy hitters. He's not a power hitter, not really a meta pick, but still very good in his respect. So a nice right fielder if you want a lefty. And Willie McCovey, I was talking about first baseman being stacked. This is a great bench bat right now. 118, 125 is elite. 103, 101 versus left is also pretty fine. There could be better though. And with 42 speed, don't play this card in the outfield with that level of defense he brings. But if you're looking for a bench bat versus righties, Willie McCovey's the pick. If I were to pick one card, I think it's Steve Finley, and then right after Don Sutton. Everyone else is also pretty viable if you happen to need those positions by the time you get to this program. And with this program, if you grind out all this program, I think you can get 3 of the packs. So if you are someone who's planning on playing this game a bit, make sure you get all this XP in the program. You can get 3 of them for free. I think by the end of this program, a good amount of them will be pretty cheap because other cards we have in the game are pretty competitive to this. So I think this is nice. I'm excited for this. And I'm excited to hop on and grind this program out. That is it for my tier listing of the 30 legends. Whoa. That is it for my tier listing of the 30 Legends of the Franchise cards. Those are just my initial thoughts. I do plan on trying them all on stream and in videos throughout the next week. So make sure you are sub down below here and check out the Twitch channel. I'm currently live right now, so if you have any questions, want to see how the cards play, we're going to try to grind them out as soon as we can. But I appreciate you all watching. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all again on the next one. Deuces.